You have covered the tools that build. The secured card used correctly, month after month, generating exactly the data scoring model is looking for. The rent payment you were already making, now finally visible across all three bureaus. The collection account approached not as a bill to be paid out of obligation, but as a negotiation with specific conditions, specific leverage, and specific outcomes, depending entirely on how prepared you are before the conversation starts. That preparation is what separates what you have learned so far from what comes next, because the strategies ahead are not simpler versions of the same ideas. They are higher stakes moves, the kind where doing it right and doing it almost right produce completely different outcomes. A credit limit increase requested through the wrong channel costs you points before it helps you. A balance transfer executed at the wrong moment in your credit timeline can lower your score at exactly the moment a lender is pulling your file. And the most powerful tool available for removing a collection account entirely, not updating it, not settling it, removing it, has a sequence that cannot be reversed once you skip a step. The tools in this section already exist inside a system you now understand. What determines whether they work for you or against you is the precision with which you use them. The pay-for-delete method, when it works and when it backfires. The name sounds like a loophole, something operating in a gray area that might get you in trouble if you try it. It is not. Pay-for-delete is a legitimate negotiation strategy. It is legal, it has been practiced for decades, and when it works, it produces the most complete positive outcome available on a collection account. When it fails, and there are specific ways it fails, it leaves you with less money and the same damaged credit file you started with. The difference between those two outcomes is almost entirely determined by how well you understand the process before you begin it. Pay-for-delete is exactly what it sounds like. You contact the collection agency, you offer to pay the debt in full or in a negotiated partial amount, and in exchange you ask them to delete the account from your credit file rather than simply updating it to paid status. The collector agrees in writing, you make the payment, and the collector submits a deletion request to the bureaus. The account disappears from the file rather than sitting there as a paid for the remainder of the 7-year reporting window. The scoring impact of a deleted collection is significantly better than the impact of a paid collection because a deletion removes the negative event entirely rather than simply closing it with a zero balance. The first condition that determines whether pay-for-delete is even a viable is who owns the debt. Original creditors, meaning the companies you originally owed the money to, are generally unwilling to agree to pay-for-delete because they have existing relationships with the bureaus and because removing accurate information from a file conflicts with the data accuracy standards those relationships depend on. Large collection agencies with high account volumes and established bureau relationships face the same constraint. The collectors most likely to agree to pay-for-delete are smaller, independent collection agencies and debt buyers who purchased old accounts at a fraction of value and have more flexibility in how they resolve them. A debt buyer who purchased a $200 account for $180 has significant room to negotiate both the payment amount and the reporting outcome. The second condition is documentation. A verbal agreement to delete is worthless. Before any payment is made, the agreement must exist in writing, signed by a representative of the collection agency, specifying the payment amount, the payment deadline, and the explicit commitment to request deletion of the account from all 3 bureau files upon receipt of payment. The letter should use the word deletion, not the word update or the phrase paid in full. An update to paid status is not a deletion, and a collector who uses language in the agreement may use the same imprecision when submitting the bureau request. Get the exact language right before the money moves. The third condition is sending payment before receiving the written agreement eliminates your leverage entirely. Once the collector has the money, the incentive to follow through on the request diminishes. The sequence is non-negotiable. Written agreement first, payment second, bureau follow-up third. After making the payment, pull your credit reports from all 3 bureaus within 30 to 45 days to confirm the deletion was processed. If the account still appears, contact the collector referencing the written agreement and request immediate action. If the collector fails to follow through on a documented commitment, you have grounds for a complaint with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and potential legal recourse under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. There are situations where pay-for-delete is simply not available as an option. Debts owned by the original creditor rather than a third-party collector. Student loan accounts, government debts, and accounts held by large institutional collectors with strict bureau agreement policies will typically refuse the negotiation outright. In those cases, the strategy shifts to goodwill deletion requests for accounts, strong mitigating circumstances, or to disputing any inaccuracies in how the is being reported, or to the patient approach of allowing the 7-year clock expire while building positive history elsewhere in the file. The partial payment negotiation that sometimes accompanies pay for delete. Specific attention. A collector who purchased old debt at a significant discount may accept payment of 40% to 60% of the original balance in exchange for deletion, because even a payment represents a profit over their acquisition cost. That negotiation is worth attempting on accounts where the balance is large enough that a discount produces meaningful savings. However, the tax implication of forgiven debt is real. If a collector agrees to accept less than the full balance and forgives the remainder, the forgiven amount may be treated as taxable income and reported to IRS on a 1099-C form. Understanding that implication before negotiating a settlement is part of approaching the process with full information. The pay-for-delete method is not guaranteed. It is not universally, and it requires a level of documentation discipline that most people skip in the urgency of wanting the problem resolved. But when the conditions are right and the process is followed correctly, it is the fastest legitimate path to removing a collection account from your file without waiting years for the clock to expire. The next mistake most people make is not in negotiating their existing damage. It is in mishandling a tool they already have access to that could be silently improving their score right now. Credit limit increases and why most people request them wrong. There is a move available to almost every credit card holder that costs nothing, takes less than 5 minutes, and can improve your credit score immediately without opening a new account, without making a payment, and without changing a single spending habit. Most people either never attempt it or attempt it in a way that triggers a hard inquiry, costs them points, and produces no benefit in return. The move is a credit limit increase request, and the difference between doing it correctly and doing it incorrectly is not complicated once you understand what is actually happening on the issuer's side of the request. Your credit utilization ratio, which accounts for approximately 30% of your score, is calculated by dividing your total reported balances by your total available credit across all revolving accounts. If you carry a $1,500 balance on a card with a $5,000 limit, your utilization on that card is 30%. If that same $2,500 balance sits on a card with a $10,000 limit, your utilization drops to 15%. The balance did not change. The spending did not change. The only thing that changed was the denominator. And that change in the denominator is exactly what a credit limit increase. It expands the available credit, which reduces the utilization percentage, which the scoring model rewards as improved credit behavior even though your actual behavior did not change at all. The timing of the request is the first variable most people get wrong. Requesting a credit limit increase too early in the life of an account, before issuer has enough data to feel confident in your behavior, produces either a denial or a hard inquiry that costs points without delivering the increase. Most issuers want to see at least 6 to 12 months of consistent on-time payments and responsible usage before they are willing to extend additional credit. Requesting before that window has passed is premature regardless of how strong the rest of your file is. The account-specific history matters as much as the overall file quality. The method of requesting is the second variable that determines whether the triggers a hard inquiry. Many issuers offer 2 paths for a limit increase request. The first path is an automatic review, where you request consideration through issuer's online portal or app, and the system evaluates your account using only data it already has, meaning no new inquiry is pulled. The second path is a formal application, where the issuer pulls your credit report as part of the evaluation, generating a hard inquiry. The hard inquiry costs points immediately, typically between 5 and 10 points, and the damage stays on the file for 2 years. If the increase is denied after the hard inquiry, you lose the points and gain nothing. Before submitting any request, contact the issuer directly, either through the online chat function or by calling the number on the back of the card and ask specifically whether a limit increase request will result in a hard inquiry. That single question, asked before anything is submitted, determines which are on Many issuers, including Discover, American Express, and several others, routinely conduct limit increase reviews using only a soft inquiry or no inquiry at all for customers with established positive histories on the account. Others, particularly for larger requested increases, will always pull a hard A inquiry. Knowing the answer before you proceed protects your score from unnecessary. The amount of the increase you request also influences the outcome. Asking for a limit increase that is disproportionate to your income and credit profile is more likely to trigger a hard inquiry or a denial than a moderate, incremental request. If your current limit is $3,000 and you request an increase to $10,000, the issuer is more likely to scrutinize that request carefully. If you request an increase to $4,500 or $5,000, the incremental nature of the request is easier for an automated system to approve without additional review. Starting with a reasonable increase and repeating the process every 6 to 12 months produces better long-term results than attempting a large single jump. The income update is a step most people skip entirely when requesting a limit increase. Issuers use your reported income as part of their assessment of creditworthiness. If your income has increased since you opened the account and you have never updated that information with the issuer is still evaluating you based on outdated data. Updating your income in your account profile before submitting a limit increase request gives the issuer a more accurate picture of your current financial capacity and can make the difference between an approval and a denial on a borderline request. This update is typically available through the account management section of the issuer's website and costs nothing to submit. The credit limit increase is not a shortcut. It is a legitimate tool that the system makes available to borrowers who use their accounts responsibly and using it strategically at the right time through right channel for a reasonable amount produces real score improvement without risks that come with opening new accounts or moving balances. The next tool most people treat as a simple money-saving move without realizing can drop their score at exactly the wrong moment. Balance transfers, the scoring impact. Nobody warns you about a balance transfer. Offer arrives in your inbox with a 0% introductory APR for 15 months and a promise to save you hundreds of dollars in interest. The math looks obvious. Move the high-interest balance to the new card, pay it down interest-free during the promotional window and come out ahead. It is a legitimate financial strategy, and when executed correctly, it does exactly what it promises. What the offer does not mention, what the fine print does not highlight, and what almost nobody warns you about before you submit the application is exactly what that transfer does to your credit score in the weeks immediately following the move. The scoring impact of a balance transfer operates across multiple components simultaneously, and each one moves in a direction you did not anticipate. Understanding those movements before making the transfer is the difference. A strategy that saves you money and one that saves you money while costing you points at the worst possible moment, such as 30 days before a mortgage application or a major loan decision. The first impact is the hard inquiry. Applying for a new credit card to receive the balance transfer generates a hard inquiry on your credit file. That inquiry typically costs between 5 and 10 points immediately and remains on your file for 2 years. If your score is sitting close to a lending tier threshold, a 10-point drop, an inquiry alone can push you into a lower tier with less favorable rates, which partially or completely offsets the interest savings the transfer was designed to produce. This is the impact most people are at least partially aware of, though they underestimate how much it matters at critical moments. The second impact is the new account penalty. Opening a new credit card lowers your average age of accounts because the new starts at 0 months and pulls the average down. A person with 3 accounts averaging 6 years of history who opens a new card drops that average meaningfully on the day the account opens. The length of credit history component responds negatively to that drop, and the impact is most significant for people with thinner files where each account carries more weight in the average calculation. For someone with 10 or 15 accounts averaging many years of history, a new card has minimal impact on the average. For someone with 3 or 4 accounts, the impact is proportionally larger. The third impact is the utilization spike on the new card, and this is the one that catches the most people completely off guard. When you transfer a balance to a new card, that balance posts against the new card's credit limit. If you transfer $4,000 to a card with a $5,000 limit, the new card immediately shows 80% utilization, even if your overall utilization across all accounts remains the same or improves. because you freed up space on the card you transferred from. The per card utilization on the new account is severely elevated. FICO 8 considers both overall utilization and per card utilization in its calculation, which means that single card at 80% can drag your score down even if the aggregate picture improved. The timing question is therefore critical. A balance transfer executed 12 or more months before a major credit application gives all three negative impacts: the inquiry, the new account age, and the utilization spike enough time to either expire from the file, recover, or be paid down sufficiently to neutralize the damage. A balance transfer executed 2 to 4 months before a major application can produce a score that is lower on the day of the application than it was before the transfer, even if the financial decision itself was sound. The transfer fee is the other variable that affects whether the math actually. Most balance transfer offers charge a fee of 3% to 5% of the transferred amount. On a $6,000 balance, a 3% fee is $180. That $180 is added to the new card balance on day one, which means your utilization on the new card is slightly higher than the transferred amount alone, and your interest savings calculation needs to subtract the fee before the net benefit is accurate. The break-even point, meaning the point at which the interest savings exceeds the transfer fee, needs to be calculated specifically for your balance, your interest rate, and the promotional window length before the transfer is submitted. The correct use of a balance transfer requires 3 confirmations before submitting the application. First, confirm that the timing is far enough from any planned major credit application that the scoring impact has time to recover. Second, calculate the net benefit after the transfer fee to confirm the savings real. Third, confirm that you have a realistic payoff plan for the transferred balance within the promotional window, because when the promotional period ends, the remaining balance typically resets to a standard rate that may be higher than the rate you transferred from. A balance transfer is a financial tool, not a credit-building tool. Used with full awareness of its scoring implications and at the right point in credit timeline, it serves its purpose well. Used reactively, without understanding what it does to the file in the short, it can create scoring damage at exactly the moment you can least afford it. The next tool available to you is one that protects your file from damage you never saw coming, from directions you were not watching.